trampling on protesters, etc. Right? So that has happened. But did some people commit violence and property damage? Yes, they did. Should they be considered part of our allies and protesters and our side? No, turn them in, okay? Don't listen to radical idiots telling you, oh, they're just, they're just protesting. They're not protesting. The civil rights movement would never tolerate violence because it destroyed the movement. It would allow.
He saw one Bernie Sanders tweet. This is the damage you do when you try and put that shit out into the world, Bernie. Shame on you, because a guy like Jake swallows it and comes out here and says, you should turn in people at protests. Are you fucking kidding me? Protests that are about protecting undocumented people, protests that are about rejecting ICE. Yeah, fucking Narc Uygur is right, Fuzzy. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't turn in my worst fucking enemy to ICE. How dare you? Also, property damage is not violence, you dope.
Yeah, he's talking about like setting off fireworks and stuff and telling people to turn those people in. Not like don't associate with them or, hey, I don't recommend that you do this, out of concern for your own safety. No, he's telling fucking leftists to turn in fellow protesters to the fucking Gestapo. It's genuinely insane. And then we're not even like 30 seconds into this clip, but then he goes on to say that the civil rights movement would never have tolerated violence. Again, I feel like we've had to explain this about 1 million times over the course of the last week or so, but Martin Luther King Jr. was not the only fucking civil rights leader. And even he wasn't as fucking saintly and pacifist and perfect as people pretend, but he wasn't the only fucking one. There was a lot of people that had significantly less pacifist approach during the civil rights movement. There was actually some tension between civil rights leaders about pacifism and to what extent it should be embraced. But it was a contribution of all of these leaders and all of these movements that ultimately won civil rights. It's not like MLK fucking like beat out all the other ones and he was the one that did it. Like, no, he was massively important and he was an amazing, legendary movement leader, but there were other people too. And yes, there was a lot of fucking violence that was unfortunately on display. That happened. It got a lot uglier than people like to pretend when they're writing the history books for fucking elementary school kids. Oh, MLK led a march and a boycott, and then everything was fine. That's actually not what fucking happened.
No, they set dogs on human beings. They sprayed them with fire hoses. They beat them with baseball bats. Do you guys think that this shit happened overnight? Easy? This is some crazy shit. You have to be a white person of privilege to believe that horse shit, that line of crap. Or you have to be Cenk Uygur living in Beverly Hills or Orange County or wherever the fuck he's just run off to, because it's totally ahistorical. It's not true at all. Gavin, you're 100% correct that there were competing ideologies amongst the civil rights movement. And also, I don't want anybody to fucking forget, Martin Luther King got shot in fucking cold blood, okay? And I believe, Memphis, Tennessee, yep. Right? On a fucking balcony by a white supremacist. So, if you just do it like Martin did. Yeah, he got fucking killed in cold blood, okay? So that's your guy. That's the guy that everybody loved and nobody hated because he was nonviolent. Do you listen to yourself? Let's look at the Freedom Rider sit-ins approval number. Shout out to Hassan for pulling this. It says, do you approve? Fuck me. Do you approve or disapprove of what the Freedom Riders are doing? 61% disapprove. Cenk's all about, we only should support things that are popular. That's populism. No, it's not. Okay. I'll remind you guys that it wasn't until 1996 that interracial marriage grew above 50% approval rating in America. Okay. The March on Washington had a 60% unfavorable rating. This is the New York Times. Whites on demonstrations, 85% said it hurts to see white people standing there with black people. Okay. A huge fucking lie. Cenk Uygur would be out here telling you white people stay home. White people do not come out here and show your solidarity. Do not put your body on the line for your brothers and sisters and countrymen. That's what he would be telling you.
Yeah. And he'd also be telling you to turn in the Black Panthers, who, as this commenter points out, was, yes, a social community organization that fed children, but was also an armed paramilitary group that scared the U.S. so much that they fucking assassinated many of its members, including Fred Hampton, right? So it's genuinely insane to hear this commentary from Cenk, to act like everyone was just a saint-like fucking peaceful pacifist during the civil rights era, and that anyone who isn't a totally saint-like peaceful pacifist should be turned in to ICE. That is a new low for this network, in my opinion. I genuinely can't believe that those words would come out of Cenk's mouth. Again, it's one thing to say don't do violence. It's one thing to advocate for pacifism. I'm totally down for that. But it's another thing to tell people to turn in their fellow protester. And it's also just straight up ahistorical, his analysis of the civil rights movement, like to a comical fucking degree.
Yeah.
Let's just take this from the top, though, so you guys can hear all of that one more time.
Horses trampling on protesters, etc. Right? So that has happened. But did some people commit violence and property damage? Yes, they did. Should they be considered part of our allies and protesters and our side? No, turn them in, okay? Don't listen to radical idiots telling you, oh, they're just, they're just protesting. They're not protesting. The civil rights movement would never tolerate violence because it destroyed the movement. It would allow, back then, racist people to go, you see, black people are all violent. That is why they policed themselves and made sure there was no violence, so there would be no excuse for the.
I am angry. They policed themselves. That's why are you kidding me, dude? These people were victims of ungodly state repression, state violence, okay? And yes, there were times when in tremendous acts of courage and in just dramatic demonstrations, people were struck and turned their other cheek and continued moving. They should not have had to do that. They should never have had to do that. Are you going to stand here and tell me you think it's right that a white man got to walk up to these people, put his fucking hands on them, and they had to take it to appease other white people? You think that's good? Yeah, 60 years has gone by. We're not fucking doing that anymore. Okay, somebody puts your hands on somebody else. Yeah, you're getting fucking hurt. Okay, I don't care. Okay, I don't care about state violence. I don't care about fucking whatever you think is the rational response to this. What you have to do is resist the fucking fascist empire that is deporting people, that is ripping families apart, that is saying we don't know if we're going to do elections anymore, that is saying we're going to start World War III, that's saying I'm going to oversee a genocide for years and years and not do anything, even though your tax dollars are paying into it. That's what you have to resist. I mean, this is just horseshit.
Yeah, 100%. It's fucking insane.
Authorities to commit much bigger violence on them. So if you see anyone in a protest doing violence, burning a Waymo, burning things down, doing property damage on innocent people's homes, business, etc., turn them in. They're not on your side.
Yeah, I like how he groups Waymo along with he kind of tries to make it about like, oh, small businesses. Oh, what about the mom and pop barbershop that got burnt down? Oh no, but then he throws in Waymos as if that's violence, as if that's something you should be turned in for burning down. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Innocent people's homes, business, etc. Turn them damage on innocent people's homes, business, etc. Turn them in. They're not on your side. They're the ones who are actually making you look terrible and hurting the immigrants, hurting our communities. They're so counterproductive. It makes me wonder if they're a false flag operation, right? Because if you were a right winger and you wanted to turn all sympathy against LA, against the cities, against our communities, against immigrants.
Oh my God, this guy's such a fucking idiot. Like, what did you just get born yesterday? Like, these protests aren't even that fucking crazy. I mean, they're not even that intense, Zach. They're not as intense as what went down in 2020. But I mean, think about fucking history. Think about like the 68 riots at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. Like, every time there's a left-wing protest that's serious, the fucking media and the establishment is going to act like it's unhinged and violent and just an excuse for people to rob buildings and burn things down. This is a tale as old as fucking time. You're never going to find a protest that is 100% totally peaceful. Like, that's just not going to fucking happen. Someone also just brought up 92. Again, Cenk was alive for 1992, but he's acting shocked. Like, again, he was just born yesterday, and this is the first time he's ever seen things get a little bit crazy. But again, it's like, it's fucking warranted, even if it was as crazy as he was saying it is. Look at the situation this country's in. People have a right to be this pissed off.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And the only other thing I'll add is he said that they're hurting the cause. These people who are out in droves, these people who are protesting, these people who are making their voices heard. No, they're not. ICE has already had to cancel multiple raids in Los Angeles County because of the number of people that have stood outside of the detention center and said absolutely the fuck not. It's also happened in New Jersey. I'm sure there are other instances. When you flood the streets, when you say enough is enough, when you say not on our block, fam, what are they going to do? Are they going to round you up and arrest every single last member of that fucking community? I don't think so. Eventually, they will relent.
Yeah, 100%. We got a couple more seconds of this drivel.
Against our communities, against immigrants, you would go in, burn a bunch of things down, burn the American flag, and act like the idiots who broke the law did. You've got to get rid of those people. You've got to keep it peaceful so that we're on the moral high ground and we win. I know radicals will say, no, violence is the answer because they're stupid. Okay, Maz.
Well, Cenk, I'm happy to hear you say
Look at
what
John
you just said.
Iadarola. Happy to be the ball boy over there, I'm sure. Jesus Christ. Could you imagine having to play nice with him after this? Look at his face. I know he hates it.
Oh, God. Poor bastard.
I'm like,
poor bastard.
I would never do that. I would never swallow that shit.
No, imagine. Yeah, you're right. Because I didn't realize until just now that John was even here. He just sat there for 1 minute and 46 seconds listening to that crap. I wouldn't be able to contain myself. I mean, you guys saw it. We had to pause that shit like 5 different times, and it's not even 2 minutes long. If I were John, I would have been like, yeah, no. Like, what did you just say about? We should do what? We should turn in protesters. And what the fuck did you just say about the civil rights movement? Because that's the most ahistoric shit I've fucking ever heard. Like, literally, I think my 5th grade teacher did a better job teaching the civil rights movement than fucking Cenk. And elementary school education is notorious for watering down the realities of, American history. But I shit you not, I got a better, more sophisticated analysis as a fucking 5th grader than I just did from watching this supposed progressive show.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss Clark and Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Gavin and I, we go back to 5th grade. We were actually just talking about Miss Clark, our teacher, the other day. But anyway, it's true. It's true. Mrs. Abramovich, same thing. I remember Mrs. Abramovich when Barack Obama won the election. She came in and hung the Kansas City star with his face on it. And she said, I know a lot of you have parents that are going to tell you a lot of things about this man, but this is a historic and brilliant day, and I'm proud to be an American. That's what she said to our fucking class, the Tea Party mongering, fucking crazy races. I've always fucked with the teachers at Walnut Grove for that.
Yeah. Miss Abramovich was a real one. Miss Clark also, I remember she told me that she voted for Obama and she was super into Obama, but she was like, I had to, kind of pretend to be neutral, all this shit.
Yeah. Except for Mrs. Abramovich, after he won, she came in with that fucking big ass picture of it. Yep. And that was back when a lot of people were still really believing in the hope and change of what Barack Obama was going to offer.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously it's easy to shit all over Obama now, but at the time, I mean, after 8 years of George Bush, you have freaking not only the first African-American president, but someone whose name is Barack Hussein Obama running on ending wars. Like, that was a crazy fucking moment in American history.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, kind of a in and out Reader's Digest guard today. We did about an hour of news coverage. We've got a bunch of super chats to react to. Gavin, is there anything else that you want to plow into? Obviously, tomorrow we have our premiere of 72 Hours of Amtrak Hell. We're so excited. We've been really working our asses on that, or off on that for you guys. You know what I mean? It's a new kind of content for us to put out. It's not something that we do a ton, but we're hoping to do more in the future. And it's something that we're really proud of. So we're stoked for you guys to check that out.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.